If you go back to the origins, it was local people, local businesses, lending to local families to buy houses. When I joined the board, there were 12.5 million of assets, taken 110 years to accumulate 12.5 million, and apparently there had not been a mortgagee sale in that time because people were lending to people.
It wasn't all by the book. It was that localism and local knowledge that allowed flexibility.
And strangely, way back then, every loan was approved by the board. That happened once a month. So you had to wait for a month to hear whether you've got your mortgage or not. And at least one director would visit or drive by the property to make sure it existed.
We treated the money that passed through the organisation as our own. So there was no loans made that you wouldn't lend to a friend. So it was really a very personal banking operation. And it was always keen to support local business and individuals and to help people save and grow and thrive.
So when I started, it was Ashburton Permanent Building Society. It was very local based. The big thing was locals, helping locals.
One thing that you learn in a small community is that no matter what deal you're doing, a week later you'll be on the other side. And so you have to make sure that you play with a straight bat at all times. So you're upfront and honest and operate with integrity. It's absolutely paramount.
Building societies were a great idea, and it was based very much on that sort of sense of trust and reliability you get from being in a community where you know you've borrowed from us and we know where you live and all that sort of stuff in a kind, supportive way. And Ashburton was a very successful, very wealthy town which batted way above its weight in terms of its commercial activities.
Across New Zealand, the building society industry was quite strong, so its aspiration was to grow. But you needed scale to keep up with the competition.
And what had happened over time is that the major banks, through deregulation, were now allowed to get into the mortgage market. And so all these building societies, one by one, basically either got swallowed up or downsized or disappeared because they just couldn't compete with the banks anymore.
So I think originally we thought if we got to total assets of 250 million, we would be able to get a banking licence. But every time you got to that target, the bar got raised.
The worst financial crisis since 1929.
Pick up my tag, let's go, we got a big one, let's go.
What they're watching is not so much the stock market as the state of the credit market, almost paralysed, with no one daring to lend to anyone else because everyone fears they won't be repaid.
That was a nerve-wracking time for a building society. We were governed then by a trust deed. So a trust deed has what I call drop-dead ratios in it. So if you breach a ratio even by $10, you have to send a letter out to all your depositors saying you've just breached the ratio. Well, if you're in a jittery market, you could say goodbye to your money. So if you hold a banking licence, you're being supervised by the Reserve Bank. The rules are none less strict, but there are some tools and negotiation in there where you can sit down with the Reserve Bank and say, well, look, this has happened, this is going to happen, this is how we're going to fix it, and find a way to get through it. So that drove us to look to other alternatives.
Building societies had really sticky depositors, but low yielding assets. They were competing with the big banks on residential mortgages. We had high yielding assets, but we had wholesale funding, which wasn't necessarily that sticky, especially in a global crisis. So the theory behind it was if we could put the building society's sticky depositors against our high yielding assets, motor, those sorts of things, then we'd have a business that could survive.
That's how we sort of began to sort of talk, initially Marrick and Southern Cross, but Southern Cross had a small shareholding in CBS, which was the Ashburton-based building society. So the idea was to be a three-way merger. And the objective was to become a bank.
We implemented a process whereby we each provided each other with quite a lot of information and did due diligence on each other. And that was the way that we went through the process, and out of that came a valuation methodology. And then we put that valuation methodology together, and then it just became a negotiation.
The landscape was difficult. To build an entity that was going to survive and be profitable was going to require a lot of work and cooperation.
Ashburton was pretty parochial in those days. In fact, when we decided to go to Christchurch and buy a branch there, there was quite a lot of pushback because going to Christchurch was a bit risky. But then when we said we're going to go to Auckland, I got these calls saying, "You're absolutely mad. You'll have to count your fingers when you come back."
There was some argy-bargy, you know, mainly against the two building societies, and they were kind of arguing, oh, we're worth 13, you're worth 11, or the other way around, we're worth 12, you're worth 10, that sort of thing. And this was the percentage of the total. It had been acknowledged that we, Marrick, were 78% of the total. That left 22% left between the two building societies. I said, I'll go from 78, I'll go to 75. But you're both 12.5 each. And that's the deal. And I'm prepared to take that to my shareholders. I'll tell them I gave away a couple of percent. But remember, by giving it away, we actually survived. So, you know, a small price to pay. And they both agreed on the spot.
Heartland was formed on the 7th of January 2011. In February, we had the Christchurch earthquakes.
I was in Auckland. I was actually on my way down to Christchurch, and I was actually ringing a friend to catch up for that night, and the phone just went dead, and then I heard the news. Our head office was in Christchurch, even though we had a lot of staff in Auckland, and we had a couple of floors in the Pine Gould Corporation building. I contacted Air New Zealand, and they were laying on a 747 to fly people down there who needed to be there, and I managed to get a seat on that plane.
I caught the second flight out. I remember flying in, getting over where you hit the coastline before you circle in, and a hush fell over the plane. I was by the window, I could look out, so I could see the smoke rising. You could see some of the devastation as you were coming into land. The thing I remember is you could hear a pin drop. We went in along Manchester Street, and that was broken, having to climb up over things. It was very surreal. And then arrived in front of the Pines building, which of course is where I had worked. And it was a flurry of activity.
You guys okay? It's my building. That's our work. That's your workplace. Were you in there at the time? No. You would never have got out. Did you see people come out of there? No. I was, one guy came out here.
Really scary time, especially when you watched the news and you saw the building collapse where we had staff. You watched the building and you just thought, my God, if anybody comes out of that alive, it'll be a miracle. It really, really would. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case for some of our friends and colleagues.
Being at the building where there were the family of the people who still haven't been found are outside, and every now and again you'd get the call, quiet everybody, and so everyone's just deathly quiet because they think they've heard something. And we were there when the last live person was taken out, and it was heartbreaking to all these families. There's one happy family and 4 disappointed families, so that was tough.
In a business context, so set aside the human tragedy of it all, in a business context it was just another huge mountain to climb.
We'd literally 20 days before spun Heartland out as a separate listed company, so we were effectively running 2 listed companies at that point in time. And that was also when we started talking to PG Rights and Finance about doing that acquisition. So multiple balls to be juggled at that time.
There was one unfortunate article which suggested that as a result of the earthquake we would be downgraded, and if we were downgraded we would be at a level which wouldn't qualify for a bank licence.
But that wasn't the focus. The focus was we've got a group of people in Christchurch that need to be supported. How do we do that?
We lived with each other for several weeks, just planning, responding, dealing with all the families, all that sort of thing, going to funerals every day, things like that.
And I think it gave the heart in Heartland.
We had a pretty aggressive plan to turn ourselves into a bank. Jeff Ricketts, Chris Mace, they were probably the most instrumental in the plan, which I didn't really think we could do that. But I learned pretty quickly that not only the people had a big ambition, but they were very capable.
Jeff Ricketts was one of the great directors in Australasia. He was fantastic for us, hugely intelligent, very focused.
He felt pretty strongly about wanting to have a strong New Zealand-based financial institution. And when he set his mind to something, you couldn't stop him really.
We then had to go and get bank registration in New Zealand, which hadn't been done for a long time.
It wasn't easy. They don't give away bank licences at the Reserve Bank.
Wanting to get a banking licence gives that security of funding, but also that security of funding told us we needed to reinvent ourselves.
We were never going to be able to compete in mainstream banking and peddling, normal residential mortgages.
We're not there to compete with the major banks, but we were there as an alternate supply of finance for certain products.
What that meant was we wound down our residential mortgage book, we wound out of transactional banking, and we gradually started to wind down the branches. Once we had eliminated the things we couldn't do, it became clear to me that we needed to be an organisation that's not about closing doors, we've got to be thinking about opening doors.
So we had to do something that was different. And so then that's where the idea of specialisation into particular products that we could be better than anybody else at.
Once that business model had been conceived or articulated, it seemed to be obvious, because how else could a small player compete in a very big field of players? Only by being different.
And when you start marching to the beat of your own drum, then it actually, you bring people together very quickly, and you galvanise people and you make them go, this is what we want to be doing, this is why we're doing it.
That's really where reverse mortgages first started. That was a product we were developing and we were going to look at initiating before an acquisition opportunity actually came along and sort of supercharged that.
So we ended up with virtually the only reverse mortgage business in New Zealand, and at that time the major banks in Australia that were in the reverse mortgage business decided to stop writing business because they felt that they were just too small for them, for their balance sheets. They were lost in the rounding, yet they had a disproportionate risk in terms of those sorts of reputational and operational risk issues that you get with reverse mortgages. Very important. The biggest risk you ever face is mis-selling the product.
Reverse mortgages have had an interesting and storied history, I suppose, possibly not for the right reasons, but I think it's because they're not well understood. Our view of reverse mortgages is really for older people who wish to remain in their own homes and not have to move out into some alternative accommodation.
The idea is to make sure that the customer has at all times choices to do it, to not do it. It's the right product for them, it suits their needs. The process is designed to give them the opportunity to consult with their family, and we insist they have to have legal representation, no exception. And the lawyer has to attest that the customer understands what they're doing and this is the best thing for them.
There's a lot of people who are sitting on assets that are worth a lot of money, but they need money to spend on medical bills or go on a holiday. They might want to buy a car, they might want to gift money to their children, and they want to stay in their home.
And I find I've had clients who've come back, it could be debt or whatever, and they just say to you, I didn't realise, you know, the relief of having this finalised. I didn't realise how much it had weighed them down.
I've just seen it change people's lives. This beautiful old couple I went to see in their home, honestly, their house was awful. I just sat there and looked around thinking I would never let my parents live like this. They were just gorgeous, beautiful people. And I remember leaving that house that day and getting in my car and crying. And I came back to work, I was just so emotional. Sorry, I'm still thinking about it. It just upset me so much that people could let their parents live like that. I went and bought a whole lot of groceries and took them to them. You know, toilet paper, and I just took everything that I thought they would need. So then we released some money to them. They got new carpet, new furniture, got the house painted. They could afford to do things.
About 2015, I wanted to have a look at what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere with what was called financial technology. I mean, what I discovered was that there was a revolution coming, and that was, rather than us carrying all these costs to service customers, get the customers to do it themselves, give them an app, and they can do it in minutes, and they will think this is the best service. So it was sort of a light bulb moment for me, is that for the first time in my banking career, the cheapest way to deliver the product was also the best way for the customer. So we decided to bring coding in-house.
To see how quickly someone can go online and have their loan basically approved in a matter of hours is just amazing. Our loan contracts used to be 3 documents, you know, where you write on the first page and then it would filter through to the other 2 pages. And we used to have a Landia, and it used to have all the files in the Landia. And if you wanted anything, you know, you'd had to manually scan it into using a fax machine and you had to put it into the system and stuff. But all of that is now digital, and it's amazing.
I think Heartland's purpose really is to help New Zealanders and Australians to live better lives. And every bank would probably say that they're trying to do that, and in a way they probably are. But the products that Heartland has, I think, does that in quite a unique and special way. You know, we've got reverse mortgages, then you've got livestock finance, another core product of ours that other banks don't really do, and we really specialise in. And that's helping farmers to maximise the profits on their farm and maximise their herd.
We were in livestock financing in New Zealand, and we acquired Stockco, and we thought it was a natural extension, but it was in many ways a signal to the market about our aspirations.
And our farmers in Australia have been through, you know, enormous challenges, and you know what we do in Heartland Bank is actually help them.
To be able to walk them through that trade and to see them come out the other end as a winner, it's been the most important thing, hands down.
We lost the family farm under tragic type circumstances, and so my nana, her proudest day was the day that I joined. So she said now other people won't go through what we went through.
A lot of our clients are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation farmers, so we want to do the best we can to help those clients keep their properties.
The team at Stockco are all there for solutions. They're really good at communicating at our level, which really assists us in funding, but also about running business. If we can run our business successfully through the good times and then the bad times, that really is an amazing thing.
I love the fact that we're helping farmers, because farmers are so incredibly important to both Australia and New Zealand.
And then in the other areas of our New Zealand Bank, motor, that is a real strength.
think it was in 2004. I was asked to run Motor as National Sales Manager. Myself and Chris Flood went about growing the motor book. So back then it was probably about 200 million, but it's now, we'd probably be the second largest motor vehicle financier in the country.
We've got long-term relationships internally and externally, and that holds us in good stead.
We've never deviated from not being involved with American Heartland because they do work as a partnership. They're not just a provider, they're very connected.
They've got faith in us as we do with them.
Jeff Ricketts, he rang me and said, I'm in Sydney, I want to ask your advice about something, could we catch up? We met on a midweek afternoon and he started painting this picture of a possibility of becoming a bank in Australia.
And then, as luck would have it, Challenger Bank came on the market. So it was an ideal opportunity for us to buy that.
And so that brought together Heartland Finance, Challenger Bank and Stockco Finance. And so all of those organisations are now a bank under Heartland Bank Australia Limited.
And that was not an easy transaction, dealing with two regulators in two different jurisdictions, and they don't give banking licences away easily. So, just persistence and resilience of our people, and just having that sort of drive and ambition.
There were a whole host of novel and unique issues that had to be worked through. I think the big new challenge for us was grappling with Australian prudential regulation for the first time, what that meant, and the challenges of going through effectively a dual regulatory application process. But you reflect back and think, hey, it was really cool to be part of that and to do something that had never been done before.
This is again is history, so this is the first New Zealand bank to own effectively an Australian bank.
Little New Zealand has acquired an Australian bank licence, which we know has never been done before. Why is that important? Because it shows that you don't have to be 10,000 people, 40,000 people. You can be small and you can still make a splash.
And it's, something to be proud of, us taking on the Aussies rather than the other way around.
I think at the heart of it, it's going to stay as a Kiwi business.
And I'm very thankful that that deal was constructed while it was still under Jeff's watch, although completed sadly after we had lost him. But he'd be very proud to know that we have got this bank established in Australia. Its boardroom is called the Jeff Ricketts boardroom. He wouldn't have wanted that, of course, but I'm sure he would feel a great deal of gratitude about that.
I think the heart and soul of Heartland is its people.
I've seen a few people come and go and made some very good friends along the way as well.
Worked with and alongside some incredible people. I've had some wonderful mentors. I think if you can surround yourself with good people, you can then work through the other challenges that you're faced with.
Well, it's all around the people. It's around the people and engaging the people, growing the people.
One of our values is to be always evolving, and I think that's something that really holds true here. We started life as three separate, relatively small companies, and we brought them together, and then we bought other businesses along the way. So we're forever doing different things, and that commands a different kind of person.
It's not a large corporate, it's not a large bank where you have huge teams. You've got to roll up your sleeves and get things done.
We're not hierarchical in the sense of I tell you, you go do. It's more a case of engagement and collaboration.
It's not about what my vision is or my view is, it is about the collective. And I always subscribe to more brains are better than one.
What's perfect is we're all learning from each other and all bringing strengths to the table.
If we have an idea, we sit around a table and we actually workshop and see what we could do, and we are responsible for bringing that to life and putting in place the steps that we need to make that happen.
The participation of Māori in the financial services sector is something like 2%. So we decided to think about doing an internship program.
It's an opportunity for
Māori and Pacifica people to come in to Heartland to learn, but it's a two-way street, so it's an opportunity for Heartland to learn from the young rangatahi.
I think a lot of Māori and Pacifica sort of shy away from these types of opportunities, but if there's one thing that I could sort of share with future interns is take the opportunity with two hands and run with it, because you never know where you go.
I think the strength has been the young people in this organisation. Now, to think pre-COVID, we were at 45% of our workforce were under the age of 35.
And so we decided to set up a rangatahi board, which was people under 35. And the aim was sort of multi-layered. It was to give them some sense of enfranchisement so they could tell us about what they thought. Secondly, it was a project platform where we could give them projects, so problems to solve. What would you think about this? How would you approach that? It was also genuine attempts to understand their demographic, particularly in digitalisation. What sort of things would attract someone of your age to set up your call account with Heartland. And finally, it's a marvellous talent spotting opportunity.
It was a way for us to bring together different elements of the bank from a business unit or team perspective, but also all under 35. And we thought pretty differently to, I think, some of the executives that Heartland had at the time.
These are all initiatives to engage the young people, because they are our customers of the future.
Recently, the law changed requiring institutions above a particular size to provide mandatory climate reporting. So we set up the Sustainability Committee in the first instance to help Heartland prepare its inaugural climate report. But in time, the committee and I and the management team members that we work with plan to expand the committee's focus to sustainability initiatives across the organisation in general.
To be sustainable, you have to have a social purpose. You can't screw people. You've got to be doing some good.
It's just about doing business in a way that is respectful of the people and places that we occupy. And to borrow from Maori tradition, it's being good kaitiaki.
As we put the merger together, Southern Cross had been going for a good number of years, and they had a big list of gone no address shareholders. And so if you have money that has gone no address, it becomes part of the consolidated fund. You have to pay it to the ID. But with shares, there is no legal requirement to do that. So we applied to the court and got approval to transfer those into a charitable trust. So the management from Heartland seek out various suitable charities that need supporting, and we allocate the profit that we can out to the community.
It's just Heartland's way of giving back to the communities that it serves.
I hope that we continue to serve our customers and our communities. I hope that we continue to foster a culture of inclusion. I hope that Heartland can be a leader in that space.
I've worked for Heartland for 13 years. It feels like I worked for 13 different companies.
It's ever business as usual here.
This is a place that gets under your skin.
Yeah, a great company. I wouldn't have stayed for 30 years if I wasn't enjoying it.
I don't want to go and do anything else because I still love my job.
I'm really excited about where we're going to go to next.
Heartland really punches above its weight.
We find a way to get things done.
This business has not been shy of hard workers.
And we don't always get it right, but at the moment, we're doing okay.
Some people say you're lucky. There's an element of luck, but you find the luck. And people that make things happen somehow find luck.
We've come from 1875, way down south. That concept of our name, Heartland, we came from the Heartland. We've worked out where our niche is, and we've worked out that we don't have to be all things to all people, but what we do choose, let's do it to the absolute best of our ability.
I think what's come out in trying to understand Heartland's history is that the values that the team in Ashburton in 1875 held are still held today. There's still that attitude of rolling up your sleeves, being a little bit scrappy, having that resourcefulness, that resilience, and that's what's going to help us step into the future.
And I think the future looks absolutely amazing.
Still growing the business and delivering for our customers.
And yeah, we're ready to take on the next chapter of Heartland.
I'm Bruce Irvine, I'm Chairman of Heartland Bank.
Hi, my name is Monica Jacopo.
My name is Jeff Summerhays.
Kia ora, I'm Leanne Lazarus.
I'm Sam Rickers.
Well, I'm Greg Tomlinson.
Hi, my name is Phoebe Gibbons.
And my name is Peter Griffin.
I'm Andrew Dixon, Chief Executive Officer of Heartland Group.
Ko Lana West, toko ingoa.
My name is Michael Jonas.
I'm Rachel Ali.
My name is Michael Laidlaw.
I'm Elizabeth Ashford.
I'm Renee Pickles.
G'day, I'm Brian Mogridge.
I'm Maureen Goodwin.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Peter Taploon.
I'm Alicia Langdale.
I'm Andy Wood.
I'm Chris Flood.
Paul Laxton Kurawa.
Daryl Harnett.
My name is Graham Kennedy.
I'm Joan Scott.
I'm Kate Mitchell.
I'm Ellie Comerford.
My name's Oliver Corman.
Richard Hines.
I'm Michelle Windsor.
I'm Kelly Laidlaw.
My name's Michael Drum.
My name's Chill Armitage.
Kevin Soster, former employee of Heartland and customer still.